stand, one shall fall.
Show me how you want it to be. Yeah, tell me, baby, 'cause I need to know now. Because my loneliness is killing me. And I must confess, I still believe. When I'm not with you, I lose my mind. Give me a sign. Give me, baby, one more time.
The Garfield movie. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look. We're going to be talking about the Garfield movie. I'm really excited to do this movie review. Now, first off, this will be a spoiler-free review because I know that the movie's not out everywhere just yet. I got a chance to watch it on April the 30th and I'm really excited to talk about Garfield and maybe be one of the first people online to review the movie. So, before we actually talk about the movie, you need to know one thing about me. I'm a huge Garfield fan. Now, I've not shown this in the channel because I don't really own that much Garfield merchandise or figures to really show or review, but Garfield is a character that always meant a lot to me. Whether it was the classic cartoon with Garfield and Friends, whether it was the 2008 The Garfield Show, or even those live-action Bill Murray Garfield movies, Garfield as a character has meant a lot to me and my whole family. We even have a cat who's around 9 years old, who's named Garfield because he's also an orange cat. And just to give you an idea how old he has seen his grandchildren. So, our Garfield as a character means a lot to us. So when it came to a full-blown animated Garfield movie, I was very excited. And when it was announced that Chris Pratt was going to be starring it, I was very surprised. And this came a couple of weeks after it was announced that he was going to be voicing Mario in the Super Mario Brothers movie. So yeah, you could definitely tell Chris Pratt was everywhere. But when it came to the actual promotionals, the movie kind of went quiet for a while until it started a full-blown campaign around November or December 2023. And let me just say, I've been excited. If you've been following my YouTube posts, you can tell that I've been talking a lot about the Garfield movie, sharing posters, the trailers, and just hyping up the movie. And that's because, again, I'm a huge Garfield fan. So to finally be able to talk about Garfield, but not like in a nostalgic way, but to actually talk about a new Garfield production made me very happy. Then when it was announced that Samuel L. Jackson was also going to be in the movie voicing Bick, Garfield's father, I was also very curious of what the movie was actually going to look like. And the trailer gave me high hopes because I loved the way it looked. I loved the design, the way that it's 3D animated, but yet it has this classic feel of the cartoon and the original comic strips. But now that in some parts of the world the movie has already been released, I actually got a chance to watch it in theaters. And the first thing I can say is that I had a fun time. Now, again, spoiler free because I know the movie's not out everywhere just yet. But the first thing I can say is that it was a lot of fun because, again, coming from a Garfield fan, someone who grew up on Garfield, who grew up on those Bill Murray live-action movies, I can tell that this movie was a labor of love in its art style and in the way it was crafted. Because the movie is really faithful to Garfield as a character, but yet still tries to offer something new. I'm going to try to talk less about the story as possible, and simply just say that it's about Garfield reuniting with his absent father, who is being chased down by a crazy cat named Jinx, and they had to do a heist. That's all I'm going to say. It's very basic, and I feel like it works. And the first thing I want to mention about the animation is that it's really, really well done, and you can tell that they really took inspiration from Garfield, not just from the comics, but the original Garfield and Friends show and all that. You can tell that from even stuff like the background, some really subtle references. I really enjoyed the art style. The characters, I like the way that even though it's 3D, they have this sort of sense of 2D in their eyes, in their expressions, and even in their movement. It's very animated, and it just fits Garfield perfectly. Now, one thing I'm pretty sure is going to be controversial is the voice acting. Of course, Chris Pratt as Garfield. Now I can say that it's Chris Pratt. That's kind of it. Being honest, so when it was announced, I actually felt like Chris Pratt could do a really solid Garfield. Like if you just talk like this, I'd say we were in. It was just Garfield, but in the movie, he kind of just talks like Chris Pratt. That's kind of what you expect. He reminded me a lot of how he sounded in the Lego movies as Emmett, how he sounded in the Super Mario Brothers movie as Mario. It's just Chris Pratt talking Chris Pratt. But then we have Samuel L. Jackson, who plays Bick, and in this case, I feel like he did a bit of a slightly more intense job when it came to Bick, because you could tell that he definitely had a lot more fun with the voice acting. It did not just sound like Samuel L. Jackson talking to a microphone, Nick Fury style. In this case, if they had not announced the cast and just made like a guessing game showing the trailer and making people just try to guess who the voice actors were, from the moment I hear Garfield, easy, it's Chris Pratt. But if you show me Vic, I actually have a hard time guessing who it is. So yeah, I'm actually surprised we never even talked about Garfield's father. Like I believe in the cartoon there was this one episode of Garfield's mom, but we never talked about his dad. So it's really cool, and that's definitely one of the things that are gonna help the Garfield movie to stand out from the other piece of Garfield media. And the movie itself, I'd say, tackles its topics of family really well. And as a movie, as a family film, it's a lot of fun. It's action packed, and it's a movie that never feels boring or never feels really slow. But yet, it's also not frantic to the point that it's just absurd. It has a sort of way to move that it's logical, but yet it's also cartoony. And I want to talk about a few other of the characters who, to me, stand out. Mainly Odie. I really like the way they did Odie here to the point I actually feel like he may have taken a bit more protagonism than Garfield. And I just really loved Odie in the movie. I just thought Odie was great. This, I don't really think it's a spoiler because you can tell it from the trailers, but John Arbuckle is not really much in the story. Like almost all the scenes in the trailers are all the scenes with John. So yeah, it's kind of a bummer to see John take a second seat, but hey, it was about the movie's being marketed as an outdoor adventure, so John doesn't really do much in the movie. But I guess that's what you expect from John Arbuckle. The new villain Jinx was actually a lot of fun. I really recommend watching the movie, and she was overall a really fun villain. She's a lot more straightforward and again wacky, and I already feel like that already makes her a better villain than the chameleon in Kung Fu Panda 4. Goes straight up to the point on what she wants, and there it is. She's a lot of fun as well. The side characters, they were a lot of fun as well, and you could tell that they had a lot of fun making the movie. So again, coming from a Garfield fan, I think the movie's really solid. It's a fun family adventure, and it's definitely more outdoors than I was expecting. We don't spend all that much time at Garfield's house, but all I can say is that it was a lot of fun. It was a really fun time. It was really worth it. I'm so happy that we can finally talk about Garfield, like in a modern way, like not look back at the show or look back at literally every kind of piece of merchandise you can imagine with Garfield on it, but to actually talk about something new like the movie. In fact, speaking of merchandise, I'm actually surprised there hasn't been all that merchandise. Like I've seen a couple of plushes, some promotionals, and posters, but yet surprisingly not that many toys. I was expecting like the stores to be flooded with Garfield movie figures and such, and that was gonna be my excuse to talk about Garfield. But we haven't really seen all that much figures or stuff like that for the Garfield movie. Again, it's weird because there was even I believe, a McDonald's promotion when the Bill Murray Garfield movies came out. So I don't know what's going on there. Maybe they want to check if the movie's successful enough to make a new Garfield movie merchandise. Who knows? But overall, I give the Garfield movie a solid 9.5 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. The only thing I can see that can be a problem to some is the voice acting, because even though, again, I said Chris Pratt, Samuel L. Jackson, everyone else in the cast do a good job, you can tell it's Chris Pratt. That's not Frank Welker, who voiced Garfield in the original series and I believe in the Garfield show. I kind of feel bad for Frank Welker because so many of his classic roles, he gets he doesn't really show up. Like he was not Megatron in the Michael Bay Transformers, but yet he was Soundwave, but without a robotic voice. He was Scooby Doo in 2020's Scoob, but he was not Fred, and those kind of things. In this case, he was not Garfield in the Garfield movie, so that's a bit of shame. And again, I feel like the voicing is mainly gonna be the controversial point with the Garfield movie. But personally, I don't really have much of a problem with it. I just thought it was fine. It's what you expect from Hollywood. But that's pretty much it. I really, really enjoyed the Garfield movie. I think it's a lot of fun and I highly recommend it. Again, I tried not to talk spoilers so you can watch the movie for yourself. It's a lot of fun. If you just go with that mentality of just having fun with a Garfield movie, you're gonna get that. It's really fun. But that's gonna be pretty much it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. Please let me know in the comments if you're gonna watch the Garfield movie. Are you interested? And when you watch it, let me know what you thought about it. That's it. Thanks for watching.